And now, Bottom Split Theatre.
Good evening and welcome to New Hampshire Motor Speedway for week 3 of season 4 of the iRacing Skip Barber series. I'm Alex Albert, and with me tonight is Tom Ellison. We're here from Bottom Split Theater. We have a good field of 18 cars here ready for battle. Some movers and shakers. We see a couple guys that have moved significantly up the rankings here in the last couple weeks, and a couple that have fallen down. So it's going to be quite the interesting race. Um, what are your thoughts on the evening, Tom?
Good evening, Alex. Good evening, everyone. Thank you once again for joining us here at lovely New Hampshire Motor Speedway. So, I'm taking a look down the grid at the moment. We have 18 drivers taking the grid this evening. One of the things I want to point out immediately is that only 9 of them have taken the grid. Only 9 of them have set a qualifying lap in the qualifying session that we've had. So we've got some perhaps quicker drivers towards the back of the grid in the second half. We look to make a move early on the lap as we line up ready for the grid. So, pole position, we have Carlos Alberto Quijano in the 18 car. This tends to be the lowest ranked driver on the field. Travis Guild is second place, Dan Card third, Justin Mintzer fourth, Nigel Days and Bradley Hickey make up your third row, with Troy Adams, Rick Ford, and David Fillion rounding out the number of drivers who have completed a lap. Who have you got your eye on tonight, Alex?
I have my eye on Troy Adams. Troy is the number 7 car. He started the season in Division 10, and right now he's about a 6 or 7 division driver based on his car number. So let's see if Troy can keep that upward swing up. Looks like he's gained about 500 I rating in the last couple weeks.
That's not
Another
bad at all.
No, and another driver with a big I ratings swing here lately is car number 18. Looked like he had lost a couple thousand in the last few weeks. So big slide. Let's see if Carlos Alberto Quijano can regain some of the I rating.
Well, we'll certainly keep an eye on him. He qualified obviously on pole, which is outperforming the car number as we see it in the starting lineup. So, wait to see if maybe that pace is a flash in the pan or whether this guy is really going to be moving up the field.
So we're waiting on a few more here to join the grid. This circuit is unique. Like other Rovals, lots of time for full throttle and drafting. And there
the
we
revs
go.
are off, and we're off.
All right, so Carlos Alberto with a good start there, but not quite as good a start as Travis on the outside. But it looks like they're going to blend in here as we go through turn 1 and 2. A little bit of two wide action further back there in the pack.
Oh, we have a spinner.
It looks like Nigel Days there.
Nigel Days, car number 6, started in 5th position there. Got loose on the banking there. Deceptive. I think he got tagged by the number 12 car, in fact. Sent him around, but no major damage. He'll look going again.
And now Bruce Knowles in the barriers and taking a tow into that chicane off of the oval. Just kind of lost it there with a bit of oversteer. Back to live here. Up at the front, Carlos continues to lead the way, with Travis closely looking on.
This is a difficult section of this track here, coming down off the Roval section, downhill, back under the grandstands, into the Roval again. And that's a tricky little section in these cars, which are light and apt to spin. So I think we're anticipating a good drive here. It looks like the top 4 are making a little bit of a gap. We have Rick Ford, number 1 car, in 5th place, up from 7th on the grid, but he's gapped back a little bit from 4th place.
Yeah, I think that the incident with Days there kind of caused a bit of a gap in our field, but it's a long race. Still got a long way to go with 21 laps tonight.
And there is another spinner at the back, number car 15, Sean Fitz, there had a spin coming onto the oval section. Didn't cause any damage, he's not doing again, but shame to see him having been in trouble already. Back to the lead though, Carlos Alberto Quijano still in the lead there from Travis Guild, Dan Card, and Justin Mintzer. And Mintzer and Card looking like they're ready for a little bit of battle for 3rd place.
Yeah, as they head through one of the most fun sections of the racetrack, that downhill hairpin, as we see a bit of a battle there for the 3rd position, a little side by side.
Yeah, Dan Card ran wide there through the hairpin and gave Mintzer just a little bit of a chance to get his nose inside. He backed out, got the run, but now he's going to look down the inside, going down the hill.
Ooh.
Nice move there.
Wow, that was close. That is a very tricky section. Super tight there on the well, it's almost the outfield here. Typically we would call it the infield, but the transitions also on and off of the banking are pretty significant to say the least, and they upset the car.
Yeah, especially in these little single-seater skip barbers, very limited suspension travel, low ride height, and once you're bottoming out there coming down the hill, it's likely to unset the car quite a bit. But a nice move there from Mincer.
As we see that's a change of position. The 3 car just had to get out of it there through the oval, just not able to carry the speed the card was down here into this first chicane.
Yeah, he got a little loose coming through the oval section there. This is not easy flat in these cars, apparently. Had to get out of the throttle, blend away, and let Dan car back into 3rd place. So this race is not over by a long shot.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a great battle here with Mincer looking on up the hill. Just can't really make anything happen, I wouldn't think, through here. Just try to close the gap, keep it nice and tidy.
Yeah, and he's a little bit quicker down the hill there than Card, as we saw from the previous lap. Not quite close enough this time to make a move, but he's harrying away. Dan Card joining us from the Carolina Club. Mincer racing out of New York for the Big Apple State. And we're seeing a close battle here. I think Mincer feels like he's quicker than Card and just looking to make the move stick now.
Yeah, Card was able to get a better run out of that last chicane. It looked like Mincer maybe got mixed up and almost misjudged where the other car was. Kind of had to check on the brakes, lost his run, and leading onto the longest straightaway, as we all know, as Jeff Tyler always says, the most important corner of the track, he just wasn't able to carry the maximum of speed through there. But we see them head up through the hill and across that rough transition. That allows Justin to close the gap again.
But who's this in 5th place? The car number 2, James Liebrecht, over a second faster than the 2 cars ahead of them.
Oh,
and his contact! Oh my word. Dan Card there coming in far too aggressive. Done some miss on the inside, and it just turned him around. Massive damage there to both cars. I don't think either of them will be in a position to finish this race.
Yeah, that's gonna lots of damage I'm gonna expect here.
So looking at the replay, it looks like Mincer came a little too hot on the inside, just locked up a tad, grabbed a brake under braking, washed a little bit wide into Card, and suspension broken on both cards there.
Yeah, it looks like they might have got away with it. Maybe our clients just are updating, but both are still at speed and haven't taken a pit, so I think they got lucky there, Tom.
I think we'll wait and see there. I'm sure with this new damage model on the Skip Barber that there might be some lingering effects there. But as you say, still moving at the moment, albeit quite a few positions back from where they were, which means James Liebrecht, the car number 2, has moved into 3rd place now. Slipped right through there to 3rd place.
Yeah, it looks like these curbs are, especially that first one, as they come up the hill, is kind of tall. It looked like it upset Dan Card's car there, but Card continuing to keep right there in the draft of Liebrecht. He might be able to make a move down in the Oval 1.
I'm frankly amazed that his rear suspension is not more badly damaged than we can see in front of us, given that incident. They make them tough in New Hampshire, it seems, and these skippies are no exception.
So let's see here. Let's ride along with the 8 car and see if he can close down here into the chicane on the backstretch.
So across the line here, on board with the number 8 car of Dan Card, sweeping through turn 1 on the banking, and cars have to lift out a little bit here. This is not flat in these cars by any means. No down floors, very little mechanical grip. These just skate around.
A downshift.
Yeah, for sure. They're accelerating out now hard. It's all about picking your braking spot on the left here. Downshifting. Car ahead of us locked up a little bit there, ran wide. That's going to give Dan Card an opportunity to make up a couple of tenths of a second there. And he's gained now on Liebhardt coming down into the carousel.
Yes, this is, I think, the most exciting corner on the track. This downhill, 180 degrees, kind of banked, able to carry a lot of speed. Card not able to carry as much speed as on the previous laps. I think some of those lingering issues you spoke of are maybe starting to rear their heads.
Yeah, he doesn't have full confidence in the car to turn in there, and that cost him a little bit on the apex, but he kept it tidy there coming down the hill, keeps following, and he's not dropping away from Liebhardt there. This is still a race third that can continue on.
All right, let's take a look back at the front because we still have a pretty good battle up here with Carlos Alberto Chiano. Despite his historical speed and accomplishments, is not able to get away from Travis Gill. Travis keeping the pressure on here. Both these drivers lapping in the 110s.
Yeah, and last lap for both of them, 1:10.3, so they're almost identical in terms of lap time. Chiano is not being allowed to get away here by Guild. Guild may be feeling slightly slighted that the car number 18 is ahead of him. Now, a reminder that iRacing official races cars numbered 1 through, in this case, 18, due to the relative strength of their drivers' iRatings. And car number 18 should be the lowest ranked, and therefore the hypothetically least experienced, least proficient driver in the field. But Chiano is certainly not letting that slow him down today.
No, and this battle is very good. Oh, as we see the 5 get a little bit of a wiggle there, but really able to keep the good speed through the apex onto the straightaway here. Is he close enough to get a draft and maybe close this down a bit?
So Travis Gill there 2/10 up on Chiano through that lap. He's closing the gap, he's keeping the pressure on. You see Justin Mintzer from that earlier incident, he's in the pit lane now. Obviously had some lingering suspension damage from that contact with Dan Carr that we saw earlier. And he's having the boys work on that car as we speak.
So one of the cars that had early trouble in our race was Nigel Days. He's the last car on the lead lap right now. He's trying to work past Troy Adams, who's fallen all the way down to the 13th position. But Troy is working on Don Emmerich Jr. there for 7th. So while there's 3 cars, just 2 of them here for position.
Yeah, it's always the facet of bottom split theatre racing that we've seen this season is that lapped cars are not afraid to get themselves involved in races for position. They know that we're broadcasting. They know that the big teams will be watching this, looking to pick up stars of the future. And, it doesn't hurt to get a little bit of broadcast time. Sweet Diamond Jr. there, still battling away with the lap traffic of Troy Adams. Troy Adams appears to have slipped past now for the time being. Nigel Days now is catching Don Emmett Jr. This could be a good battle for 6th place.
Yeah, although Days does have quite a bit of nose cone damage, not a lot of high speed here. The oval, it is fast, but not as fast as some of the courses we go to. So I don't think he's going to get punished as bad as typical. Here through the twisty bit on the outfield, really able to close it down on the 17. Let's see if he can get in striking distance this time on the oval.
I think, you can see a little bit of damage there on the front wing of car number 17. That may just be impacting his turn-in speed through the infield here, maybe compromising his speed a tad. I don't think he's going to be close enough this time to get a run on...
Oh, let's go back to the front, though.
Yeah, back to the lead.
Our leaders are working past a lap car. Oh, and that causes 2nd to run a bit wide.
That was Travis Guild there in 2nd place, and Sean Fitz, the lapped car. Let's see if we can go back there, see if there was any contact with the leaders. It doesn't look like it there.
No,
Travis Guild just forced it wide. He was forced to an offline coming through the re-entry to the Roval section and bounced over a curb there. No lasting damage, and he doesn't seem to have lost that much time. But he was really starting to put the squeeze on Chiano at the front. 4/10 a lap faster on the previous lap, and I don't think this race is over at all.
No, Chiano slipped away a bit. I wonder how much of that pace was the draft. So we will find out now. We're going to see if Guild can work through this traffic as efficiently as Chiano, because that's going to be the key to victory. I think Guild knew that. That's why he forced the issue last lap, but maybe he could have waited 1 turn there. Looks like he's getting a little closer, though.
Yeah, I think a little bit of patience would have been a wise choice for that move. But it's easy to say that from up here in the booth. Aaron Jackson's the next lap car that Guild will be working past, which he does so with a minimal fuss. And he's not that far behind Chiano here. This could be still, I think he's within striking distance.
Yeah, the gap on my screen here showing it right around 1 second right now. So that shows that he was able to close down 2/3 of a second while working the traffic. I think Guild has the pace here to maybe go for the top step.
Of course, we're into lap 10 here in these Skippy Barbers. These are on the new tyre model from our racing, the NTM V7, and it takes a little while for these tyres to get up to peak operating temperature. And it can be seen now that maybe, Travis Guild's running a little bit lower pressure on the grid, waiting for these tyres to get up temp, but now he's reaping the benefits. Maybe Chiano took a little bit out of his rubber at the start.
Yeah, this is probably our best battle. There's also the Days and Emirate battle that we talked about earlier, but let's keep our eyes here on the front for now. And if the pace stays like it is, we might be able to see both battles in one shot as the leader's lap. Days, he is the last car on the lead lap, right there running within the second of Emirate.
Yeah, they're not far off each other here. Leaders are, probably I'd say about 10-15 seconds behind that battle at the end of the lead lap. So we'll see how things develop. We still have how many laps? 10 more laps remaining.
Yeah, that's probably 30 seconds worth of time. They're about 3 seconds a lap faster. So I think this will be a factor as we see one more time back down the main straightaway. Carlos Alberto Chiano continues to lead ahead of Travis Guild.
But Guild, to my eyes, I think he's a little bit closer this lap than he was last lap. Let's wait until they break the timing beams onto the banking here. And let's see, that is a 10.068 from Chiano, but a 9.897 from Guild. He's into the 09s and he's battling hard.
Yeah, getting a bit bouncy there, a little bit hot through the second part of the first chicane, but I think he's going to get away with it. I don't think he's going to regret that. He's got it down to about 0.6 now as ahead through the banked 180 hairpin.
That's great driving from Guild. He suffered a little bit of an incident with that lap traffic. Didn't let that upset him. He's right back in the groove now and chasing down Chiano. This is fantastic to see.
Yeah, Guild here needs to take care through that bump much better this time, keeping the car very tidy as he works it out there towards the exit curbs.
Yeah, that was the right line through there. Neat and tidy, not sliding the car too much, taking too much life out of those tires. He's able to tuck in neatly here onto the banking, get into the draft, and hopefully catch up a little bit further.
Yeah, the 5 car holds a very tight line to that pit exit, but I think it's working for him. He seems to be one of the he's definitely the fastest car on the track, so he seems to know something.
Yeah, he's able to take just a little tighter line on exit there, maximizes exit speed onto the pit straight, and that's paying dividends all the way down now into the hairpin. He's really close now, up behind the gearbox, and he's looking to be making a move soon, I'm sure.
Yeah, let's see how much patience he shows. There's really no rush to go anywhere. Right there is the leader. If you beat him by a second or a minute, the victory is the same.
Champagne tastes just as sweet, no matter how much of a distance you have. So I think we're looking at Guild here to be a sensible racer. He knows he has a pace advantage. He just needs to sit behind Chiano for now, maybe see if he can pressure him into mistake. Oh, bouncing across the curve, and he spins. He's in the barrier.
Oh, no,
No.
That corner has been the bane of his race. He hit that curb again, the same one that he touched with the lapper this time. It ends much worse with the left rear corner in the tire barrier. Looks like he's going to be able to try to limp it around. Oh, another spin. Just got one tire's worth of fire going under it right now, so he's having a bit of trouble getting it back, but...
Yeah, looking at that incident coming down the hill, he was a little loose through the left-hander ahead of the time. The car snapped over to the right, forced him to take a tight line through the right-hander, bounced over that curb, and from then on he was just a passenger as the car bounced and pogoed into the tire barrier, and that was game over on the left rear suspension. You hate to see it.
We do. For selfish reasons, if for no other reason, because we had such a good battle forming there. It looked like it was going to go all the way to the line, but let's go through our field here, see what else we have on track. So continuing to lead, Carlos Alberto Chiano with a big lead, 16 seconds over James Liebricht. In third, continues to run Dan Card. And Travis Guild is back on the track, running in fourth. So he had such a pace advantage. He was able to limp it around, get that fast repair, get back out, and now he's out there in fourth place.
Yeah, a bit of a gap there between third, fourth, and fifth. I don't think there's going to be any significant battling until the flag, unless there's a drama. I think our best battle on the track at the moment is between sixth place and seventh place. That's Nigel Days and Don Emmett Jr. They're separated by only about a second here, coming in through the Roval section, out of the Roval proper into the countryside.
Yes, and that's the leader just out of the frame, so this will be exciting. These guys, they still have their race going on, but the leader wants to get through, so this should be exciting.
Chiano straight to the inside there through the carousel, no mercy being shown. And, he has the right to do that, but he's not really being threatened, so no need to make any unusual or unnecessarily aggravating maneuvers there may incur the wrath of the lap traffic.
All right, let's jump one back here with Sean Fitz and Aaron Jackson. Got another battle here. Sean Fitz in the 15 car, sliding a bit wide there on the uphill, has to grab a lower gear. The 9 car having a look on the inside, probably going to think better of it.
And this is great racing that we're seeing throughout the field here. The 9 car of Aaron Jackson was about a second faster than Sean Fitz that last lap, and he's putting the squeeze on here, thinking he can get all the way up to 10th place. And it's going to be a little wide. Sean Fitz there looking a little loose through that infield section. Maybe his tires are a little bit too hot, a little bit too slidey.
Yeah, still have 8, or well, for these guys, we'll have 6 more laps to go. So maybe, I don't think that he's going to be able to get any more positions. These guys are both 2 laps down. So I think this is the race for Aaron Jackson. I think I might just sit there, rest my stuff for a lap or 2, and then make my move.
Yeah, he was 3/10 faster than Fitz.
Oh, there
Fitz
we go!
runs wide. The pressure told there. Greasy tires, worn rubber towards the end of the race, and Fitz just got him in a little too hot at the hairpin, got loose, got on the marbles on the outside, and around he went. And that's how pressure can really force an error in these motorsport races.
All right, so let's go back to the battle for 6th and 7th. Nigel Days, Don Emmert Jr. Days has the advantage right now. They just got passed by the leader to get put 1 lap down. Allowed Days to get a bit of a gap over Emmert. Emmert, though, with the advantage here on the Roval, should be able to draft back up. And Days has that nose cone damage, which should be limiting his top speed.
Yeah, that nose not looking too great at the moment. Limiting his pace a little bit, and Emmert was a second faster on that previous lap. So maybe, this race isn't done quite yet. Let's see, there's not many laps remaining, but still go all the way here.
Yeah, and as we talked about, the top speeds that we're seeing here are just south of 100 miles an hour, where we see that's still 4th gear, so normally we see the driver shifting into 5th at around 106 to 108 miles an hour, so a little bit of a slower track, but still quite technical and quite tough.
Certainly is. Emmett really able to close the gap any further to Nigel Days in 6th place there. I don't think he's that much closer than we saw him at the start of this lap. Maybe he's thinking, long race, long season, settling for 7th place here and a good haul of points may be enough.
Yeah, and let's see, what's the gap back behind him? Oh, he's pretty safe, got quite a ways, so yeah, it might just be time to bring it home. We don't know. He could be suffering some tire wear and might be having more trouble getting it around the circuit than it appears to us. So sometimes discretion is the better part of valor.
So let's check it again with our leader, car number 18, Carlos Alberto Quijano. Up front, still running 1 minute 10 second 0.3 laps, which is, race pace, race winning pace. So something that we mentioned earlier, Alex, he's the car number 18 here. Is this sort of what you'd really expect from the car number 18?
I would say this is a bit of a statistical anomaly.
Why is that?
Well, according to the statistics, he only has 191 I rating, which you typically start with, I think, somewhere around 1,400, 1,350 or so in I rating.
I think it's 1,350, yes.
Yeah, and so then you move up or down. It's almost like a poker game where everyone buys in. So each race, everyone buys in and contributes I rating, and then it's split up amongst the winners. The guy that wins the race gets a proportional amount based upon his I rating. So if the 1 car wins, his winnings won't be quite as big as if the 18 car wins. So we might see an I rating swing here of as much as maybe 150 positive towards Carlos. Wow. But as we mentioned, Carlos is familiar with having a fairly high I rating, as it seems like just a few weeks ago, his I rating was high enough to be in about the top 15% of all I racers in the world.
Interesting.
And now he seems to be with an I rating of, I would say, approximately the bottom 2% of all I racers in the world.
I wonder what possibly precipitated that fall from grace in such a dramatic way to coincide with the start of this season?
Yeah, hard to say, but racing is a fickle thing, and maybe he's just having some of that racer's luck and been on a bit of a slide.
I certainly hope that's the case, and if that's the case, I'm glad that his luck appears to be turning now with this victory. Of course, it is against the iRacing sporting code to intentionally take losses in order to reduce your iRating to a level that would not be commensurate with your performance. And that is actually an offense, a transgression of the sporting code that can lead to a protest being fired. So let's hope that none of his rivals really notice that and think that maybe something more nefarious afoot.
Yeah, and what's the fun in that? That would be as if a Premier League player went and played in one of the lower divisions just so he could win. I don't know about you, Tom, but I prefer a fair fight against my peers than to beating up on guys that are less
I
skilled than
agree.
me.
There's really no honor in dominating a field of drivers that maybe do not have your experience or knowledge of higher placed racing. It seems counterproductive, and slightly unfair and a bit twattish, to be honest. So let's see how this works out. He seems to be having a little trouble here getting past the lap car of Rick Ford. Had to back out there as they enter the final lap.
Yeah, the flag man has the French battle flag in the air as we start the last lap.
And Rick Ford not making it easy for the leader to get past. He's defending his position through the banking. Keanu having to tuck in there, and he's certainly not going to be risking throwing away his lead on the final lap. We hope.
Yeah, Ford, the top-rated driver coming into this race, giving him quite the battle, as we can see by the tape on the roll hoop. Ford is a D-class driver. That's based upon his experience and safety rating. Whereas we see the 18 is a blue band. That denotes an A-class driver, one who drives at the highest level of safety and avoidance of incidents. So a bit of an experience gap here, but it looks like Ford might be able to hold him off.
Yeah, Ford may be feeling a little bit put out by the comparatively low rating of the A-class driver behind him. Not going to make it easier, and maybe proving a little bit of a point here that he can stay ahead of the leader, even with this disparity in I ratings.
Right, and in iRacing, blue flags don't actually have are not enforceable, so they're just a notice.
Purely advisory.
Yeah, and it's treated more as it is in oval racing, in which it's considered fair and expected to race to stay on the lead lap. So as we see the rest of our traffic come across, there's James Liebrecht for second place, in 19 seconds behind our leader. And the final position on the podium, Dan Card, the number 8 car, racing out of the Carolina Club, coming home there in third.
Impressive drive from him after that incident that we saw earlier on in the race, coming together with Justin Mintz. Impressive that he's managed to keep it. Fourth place, we have Travis Gills, who's battling for the lead hard with Keanu earlier this race. Rick Ford, Nigel Days, Don Emmett Jr., Omar Koti Maitin, Bradley Hickey, and Sean Fitz round out your top 10.
Wow, we saw some great battles again this week. It was just a shame that we weren't able to see a battle for the top step all the way to the line, but sometimes that's how the cookie crumbles.
And that's how the iRacing tanks.
So I thank everyone for joining us this evening. I hope you enjoyed the show, and you'll join us again next week for week 4 of season 4 of the iRacing Skip Barber series here on Bottom Split Theater. And I'm Alex Albert. With me tonight was Tom Ellison and our producer, Kyle Smith. Thanks for joining us. See you next week.
Good night.